Hi everyone, my name's Janine. Thank you for finding yourselves here today on my channel. This here's Ruby. She'll be making a guest appearance in part of the video today. And we're coming to you from beautiful Souk, British Columbia. Feeling very grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to practice outdoors, sharing the space and time with some furry friends. Maybe you've got a pet close by as well. It can certainly bring a loving and extra playful element to the practice. But for today's practice, however, we'll start off by doing a short meditation, and this will be based around coming into our present awareness. So we'll do that by tapping into our senses. By taking a few minutes to notice and tap into our senses, it can help to bring us out of our thinking mind, our story making, or maybe you know it as monkey mind, and into our, as the yogis call it, buddhi mind, which is the observation mind. Brings us more into our awareness and more into the body and out of the mind, since we spend a little too much time in the mind as it is. So let's take a few minutes now to come into our present moment. Let's leave the day behind, whatever's happened thus far, or any planning, putting that aside. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable if you aren't already. Maybe sitting up on something so you can create a nice long spine, or maybe lying down if that's better for you too, then that's totally fine. Let's just get out a little tension by bringing the shoulders up towards the ears and relaxing them back behind you. Couple shoulder shrugs just to loosen anything up if there's some tension there. Taking a conscious breath in through the nose, maybe out through the nose or the mouth. And to begin, as you have your eyes open, let's start to gaze around the room and take notice of 5 things that you see. Not thinking much about it, but just simply taking in your surroundings and becoming aware of 5 simple things. Not attaching anything to them, no story, no reason why, but just noticing. And once you've done that, I'll invite you now to gently close down the eyes or just create a heaviness behind the eyelids. And taking another conscious breath in through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. And now, I would like you to notice 3 things that you can hear. Maybe close by or somewhere far off in the distance. Maybe trying not to necessarily label them as good or bad, that we like it or we dislike it, but just noticing. And once you've noticed those 3 things that you can hear, I'll invite you to now notice 2 things that you can smell. Maybe it's quite subtle, or maybe it's rather obvious. But whatever it is, just taking that moment to become aware of it, and moving on to taking notice of 2 things that you can now feel. Maybe you're outside and you can feel the breeze, or maybe it's just the fabric on your clothing, or maybe simply a point of contact. Let's bring our hands together here at heart center and begin to rub the palms, creating some friction, taking notice of this feeling, that feeling of warmth that you're creating. And then I'll invite you to now rest both of your hands over top of your heart center. And just taking a few rounds of deep belly breath here and noticing the feeling of that warmth you've created on your palms, maybe noticing your heartbeat. underneath your palms. And from here, lastly, I'll invite you now to notice one thing that you can taste. Maybe it's simply the beverage that you drank before your practice, or maybe simply the taste of your saliva in your mouth. But once you've become aware of your taste buds, I'll invite you now to bring a little movement into the body. So we'll begin by moving in circles, moving the torso forward and back, coming into a few rounds on each side. Just waking up the spine here and getting some mobility in the lateral lines after sitting for a few minutes. Feel free to keep the eyes closed here if that feels good, or you can open them. And we'll come into seated cat and cows, so finding your center here and inhaling as you bring your chest forward, squeezing your shoulder blades back behind you. And exhale as you round the spine, maybe tucking the chin into your chest. Moving like this a few rounds on your own, feeling into the body, following your movement with your breath. Once you've completed that last round, we'll come back to center, wiggling out the torso a bit, and let's shrug our shoulders up towards the ear, allowing your shoulder blades to fall back behind you on that exhale. From here, we'll plant our right hand to the ground beside us and reach our left hand up and overhead, getting a nice big stretch, a nice big opening onto that left side body. Maybe with your exhale, we'll cactus the arm, squeezing your shoulder blades back behind you and inhaling as you reach overhead. A couple rounds like this. Next time you're reaching overhead, rounding all the way forward so your left hand is coming over towards your right knee, maybe off the mat, and slowly beginning to crisscross your hands as you walk yourself forward and all the way over to the other side so that your left hand is now planted to the ground beside you and your right hand stretches up and overhead. Pushing into your right sit bone as you stretch your fingertips up and over as far as you can, feeling that length in the side. Exhaling as you cactus your arm back behind you, squeezing your shoulder blades. And next time you reach your right hand up and overhead, circle it all the way so that your right hand finds your left knee. Begin to crisscross your hands all the way to center, walking yourself slowly back up, rounding the spine till you find a nice tall seat. And right away, go ahead and lengthen your right leg out in front of you on an angle. Feeling both sit bones rooting into the ground here. Go ahead and reach both hands up towards the sky, and we're coming into head to knee here, Janu Shirshasana. Begin to fold yourself over your extended leg. As little or as much feels good to you. As you can see, I'm not folding much here, so you certainly do not need to bring your head onto your knee, but you're energetically going in that direction. On your next inhale, you can begin to slowly round your spine back up to seating, circling your left hand up towards the sky, planting it back behind you, and using that as leverage to push yourself up onto your knee and coming into a mini wild thing. Reaching away with your right hand, pushing into the ground equally with your right foot, circling the arm here a couple times, getting some movement. And on your next exhale, bringing yourself back down to that seated position and folding yourself forward into your head to knee. Taking a full round of breath here before you roll yourself back up again, creating a nice long spine. Taking a second, and when you're ready, you can bring your right foot to meet your left, coming into Baddha Konasana, butterfly. And let's bring our heels in a little closer towards the body here, holding onto the ankles with the hands. and begin to flutter out the legs like you're a butterfly. Maybe moving a little quickly, just getting some extra energy moving throughout the lower body. Not forgetting to breathe, taking notice of your inhales and your exhales as you move. And bring yourself back to stillness now. And on your next exhale, let's fold the body forward. Maybe tucking the chin into the chest and rounding the spine here if that feels good. Just fully relaxing into your fold, allowing your neck and your head to be heavy here. On your next inhale, slowly roll the body up, stacking your head over your shoulders. And right away, we'll go into our second side. Go ahead and extend your left leg out in front of you this time, tucking the sole of your right foot in the inside of your thigh, reaching your hands up towards the sky, and framing your extended leg, begin to slowly fold yourself over, bringing your head towards your knee in Janu Shirshasana on the left-hand side. With every inhale, imagine your spine growing long, and with every exhale, maybe you incrementally fold just a little bit more. Flexing into the foot here, but remembering you can keep as big or as little of a bend in the knee as feels good. Taking one more round of breath, and on your next inhale, begin to walk yourself up and reaching your right hand now up towards the sky, circling it back behind you and using that as leverage to push yourself up onto that right knee as you reach the left arm back behind you, relaxing in the neck here, push away in your left foot. Maybe circling the arm here a few times, just really getting some nice length on the side body. And on your next exhale, dropping your hips back towards the earth, reaching your hands up towards the sky, and again, folding forward back into your Janu. Taking one more full round of breath here. And on that inhale, rolling yourself back up. And we'll come into a cross-legged position. And right away, rolling forward onto your hands and knees, setting yourself up for a tabletop. Setting yourself up here, pushing equally into both hands, pushing into the tops of the feet. We'll just begin to rock our hips side to side, just coming into a little bit of organic movement. Maybe beginning to find some circular motions in the hip. Maybe dropping your hips towards your heels and then rounding yourself forward, pulling the chest up like you're in a cow, and then arching the spine, coming into that cat pose as you drop those hips towards your heels again. Just feeling this out in either direction, whatever feels good for you. Maybe as you bring yourself up into your cow pose, think about putting some traction in your hands, like you're pulling yourself forward as you open the chest, and then pushing the ground away when you round the chest, bringing your hips back towards your heels. A couple more times, just like that. Next time you find your hips towards your heels, why don't we go ahead and widen the knees, bringing our big toes to touch, and we'll find ourselves down into a child's pose, Balasana. Go ahead and crawl your hands forward to the top of the mat and allow your forehead to rest down onto the earth. Maybe just gently rocking the head side to side, giving the third eye, giving your forehead a little bit of a massage. And on that inhale, let's lift up the chest and begin to walk our hands over towards our right hand side, then draping the body over top of that right thigh. Maybe placing the left hand so it's over top of the right, and really feeling into that big side body stretch on the left hand side. Think about sinking your sit bones down into the earth as you reach your hands away in the opposite direction, relaxing the neck here, slowing down the breath, taking notice of your inhales and your exhales. Then on your next inhale, begin to slowly lift up the chest and begin to walk your hands slowly over to the center and then all the way over to your left hand side, beginning to drape the torso all the way over, sinking your chest down. Maybe crossing your right hand to sit over top of your left this time and relaxing your head onto the earth. Taking a few rounds of breath here, feeling into that side body stretch on the right hand side. Just being aware of your breath here, allowing that to be your anchor to bring you into this present moment. And on your next inhale, slowly lifting the chest and walking your hands back to center. Slowly lifting yourself back up to sitting on your heels, creating that long spine once again. Taking a full round of breath here before we set up for our next pose. You can begin to lift yourself up onto your knees and we'll tuck the toes back behind us, setting up for toe squat. Even tucking those pinky toes back behind us before we sink our hips back onto our heels. I like to bring my knees together here. And you can bring your hands to heart center, or maybe opening up the palms and allowing for your hands to sit on your knees, a symbol of staying open to this experience, of surrendering to it all. I know this can be quite a lot of sensation, but just stay with it, focus on the breath. If there's any pain, then definitely come out of it. But if it's simply just sensation, then breathe through it. You can always come out a second and come back in. Toe squats are so great for opening up the fascia and working with the meridians of the feet. So even just a few breaths can be so beneficial for us. Taking one more full round of breath here before we come out of it. And when you're ready, you can roll forward and begin to tap out the feet, hitting the tops of the feet onto the ground. And right away, let's get into a little counter stretch. So bring your palms back behind you, keeping the chest open as we lift up our knees, lifting up the shins, and just rocking ourselves back and forth here. Feeling into some nice opening on the tops of the feet and the ankles. And I'm going to stay on my knees to close this practice, but if you'd like to come into a cross-legged position, if that feels better for you, then please do. We'll just take a few rounds of breath here, bringing your hands to heart center, taking a deep, full breath in through the nose and letting it out on a sigh with your exhale. Let's bring our palms up between our eyebrows at that third eye center and bowing forward to close our practice. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me here. I hope you enjoyed this little senses meditation and short movement practice. Please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.